Hi, you just watched CHESTERSBERG, Make Murder Legal, and I am joined by the director, Jamie McKeller. Hi, Jamie. How you doing?
Hi, how's it going?
All good.
Good.
Just want a quick chat about the film. It's a really great movie. I love it. Hopefully everyone who just watched it loved it as well.
Hope so.
Can you give us a quick chat to how it all came about?
So it started its way as a short film, which I think is online somewhere. Yeah, the book club. Yeah, the book club is online. We made it as a pilot for the Daily Motion and Rain Dance competition back in, I want to say 2016. Got this awful feeling it was earlier than that, which that hurts.
It's 2015 online, so
2015. Did it really?
Yeah.
No,
Scary, isn't it?
Horrendous. So we made this. It was a weird little pilot that Daily Motion did, like a pilot competition. The idea was, this is like back in the mid 2010s when like web series were just starting to fizzle out a little bit. Because I mean, like in the early 2010s, they were quite popular with the Guild and everything that was coming out. And we made a few, and they were really good fun. And yeah, they basically said, make one, we'll judge the pilot. And we did it in 2014, and we came second. So we didn't make that series. And then we did it again in 2015 because no one likes losing. So we thought we'd take another go at it. And this time we kind of, like the first time round we went for it, we kind of did the whole web series thing. It was quite heavily stylized, a bit video gamey, things like that. And then we were kind of like, what are we doing? Like, we make horror films. Let's make a horror comedy. That's like what we make. Let's just make something completely for us. And if it comes dead last, at least we can kind of go, like, we've done it our way. And it didn't. It won, which was awesome. And it won a small amount of money from Daily Motion, who then just had no interest in it at all. It was really weird. Like we were supposed to make them 8 episodes of this web series called The Book Club, and the guy who was in charge of the competition, he just was like, nah, and he quit Daily Motion for some reason. And then we contacted him and said, do you need the money back? Is it all still happening? Like, and weirdly at this point we were like, we don't want to make another web series because it can be quite a thankless thing to do. You know, you put in, especially trying to get horror stuff seen on YouTube is it can be quite tough.
Imagine it's now, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the audience just wasn't there at that point for it. When we won this little bit of money, and they were really chill. They just said, like, keep the money. It's like a couple of £1,000. Like, get some new toys for yourselves. Like, so we moved from our first kind of really basic cameras to something a bit nicer. First sort of jump up we made. And yeah, I just kind of was like, oh, okay, we'll put it to bed. And all the cast of the original short were like, hey, you told us we were going to make more of this. And I was a bit like, no, okay. So I said, right, okay, I don't want to make a web series. I don't want to make a short film. I want to make a feature. Like, we've been making little films and web series for the best part of 5-6 years now. Like, let's just jump in and let's just do it. So we did. Like, we just committed to it. We launched the Kickstarter, and I think we had a bit of a 2-year gap between winning at Rain Dance and then actually starting to work on this film. Where basically I spent a year and a bit writing it, and off it went. Like, luckily, again, unanimously, everybody except for a couple of actors who just, they had good reasons. They were no longer living in England, which is a pretty good reason to not be involved. Everyone came back. We added some new characters. It expanded. Another writer came in, and then it just all happened. And I sort of look back at it now, and I don't really know how it happened. It just did, and somehow, early last year, we had a feature film going into festivals, and the people were seeming to really, really receive, kind of receive it really well. For the most part. Some people not. Some people it's really upset, but for some reason, yeah. There's one guy who I had to block on Twitter because he was basically sending me a review about it every week. He hated it that much, which I kind of saw as a win in a way. Like, I made him feel something so passionate that he would write me like, I did. I basically gave him, he was writing me a 500-word review every week to tell me why.
Different review
every week, 500 words, why it was
something else you didn't like.
Yeah, like literally, like, every, like, and he was like, it was just odd. They weren't going anywhere. They weren't being published. He was just sending them to me, which is quite touching in a way. But I managed to make such an impact on him that he just like, but luckily, for the most part, it's gone well, and hopefully everyone that's watched it tonight has a blast with it as well.
I think one of the things I was most gutted when obviously COVID came in and stopped the real festival. One of the things I was most gutted about was, obviously, I really wanted to see CHESTERSBERG with an audience. I was so looking forward to watching it. It would have been a closing film, and just to see a big crowd of it. Maybe we had a few drinks. Taking that in and laughing about it was something I was really looking forward to. So I was
absolutely
really gutted that we couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, we looked out that we did a cast and crew screening, and everyone that backed the film and the Everyman Cinema in New York gave us their main screen, and we had about 250 people in there who were in some way involved. 'Cause if you've seen the film, you know it's not a small cast; it's a big cast.
Yeah,
for a small indie film, it's odd to have a cast that size and to have so many locations to sort of shoot it across such. I think the film feels quite big, even though it was shot on the smallest budget you could imagine. And to have everyone there, and everybody sort of can I bring so yeah, no, I'll just pile in, let's fill the place. Like they've given it to us for the night, let's just make a real song and dance. And then Everyman put a red carpet out for us, and they changed their canopy. They've got like an old-fashioned cinema canopy, like you sort of see in like the 1980s, and it had CHESTERSBERG up there. We were just like, this is amazing. Cool. And but obviously that was, even like I've got a lot of friends who are filmmakers whose careers are like further along than mine, or slightly like a lot coming up behind me. And the one thing I always do try to avoid is to watch their films with a bunch of people who know it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like if they get into something like Fright Fest or whatever like that, I will go down there and I'll watch it with that audience, because it's always interesting to see a film with an audience that has no idea what's going on. And we got to experience that a couple of times at CHESTERSBERG, thankfully, before the curtain fell. So we got into two festivals where we actually watched it with a physical audience.
Brilliant.
And I kind of sat at the back like, ooh.
And how did that go down? They were laughing?
Yeah, really good, really good. The physical, we had people coming to talk to us. The guy who's probably the most well known in the film is Andrew Lee Potts from Primeval, who plays DCI Waits. Yeah, that's right. He came along to the first festival it premiered at in Manchester, and he came to the Q&A. And that was cool. He did not get paid a lot of money to be in this film, and to give it the support that he did afterwards. He was supporting it and pushing it. 2 years after we'd filmed his scenes, like he didn't just turn up, take his cash and go cheers, bye. He turned up full of ideas, and then he's like, come to all the festivals, and if he could be there, he would be there. That was very cool. But yeah, it was a shame to not experience it with more audiences like that. And I think it is now coming to the end of its festival run as well. Like it's got distribution now. It's going to come out somehow. It will. It's a small level of distribution, but it will be physically. Yeah, and it's going to get a nice high quality release as well. It's not going to be like even though it's a small distribution company that are picking it up. I can't say too much about it because we haven't signed it yet. We're going to sign it at the. We're meeting the guy at the beginning of December to sit down, work out all the final logistics. But like we've basically said, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just get it out there. So if anybody's really enjoyed it tonight and wants to actually own a physical copy of it, they'll be able to, which is cool.
That's really good news.
That's really kind of more than I could hope for. I thought it'd end up bunged on YouTube for a quid or something, but the fact that people can actually buy a box set is going to be amazing.
That's going to be awesome. Oh, box set.
I think it's a double one. I think they want to do DVD Blu-ray combo box.
Great.
And then there's I think there'll be individual one. There'll be like I don't know. I shouldn't say too much because I'm making promises that I can't cash in. I'm not. Yeah, this is going to happen.
That's brilliant.
They'll be watching this going, what are you doing?
What's he doing? Yeah, cancel that.
He's got an email going, it's all done. Yeah, we've pulled it now. So this might all be live.
How much of the pilot that you shot did you use? Did you use any of that footage, or you just reshoot?
No, we reshot everything. Because funny story. So CHESTERSBERG had a full-scale crew, director of photography, first AD, second ADs, production designers. And that was insane. There were days when there were 70, 80 people on set. And I was just like going, oh, how has this happened?
What have I done?
Cool. Yeah, what have I done here? All these people, this is my fault. But with the book club, that was literally, I was the crew for that. I shot it on a GoPro, not intentionally. I think for the sort of more techie people out there, we shot the film on CHESTERSBERG was shot on fairly basic kit. It was shot on a Panasonic GH5 or GH4, sorry, which is like the earlier one, going into a big external recorder. So basically, a big screen on top of the camera, and you can kind of see it gives you kind of higher quality footage that you can then, Michael, the DOP, I think did a phenomenal job of shooting it and grading it as well. And it looks amazing. Like when it was projected on the cinema screen, part of me was going, "Oh God, how is this?" And it was a big screen that it was, shot out onto 2K, and I kind of sat there and went, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Oh no, this actually looks legit. This looks like a real film."
It is a real film.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you know, when you're shooting on like basic kind of toys, I know it doesn't matter what you shoot a film on. You shoot a film on an iPhone. I mean, the film that's crushing it everywhere at the moment is Host by Rob Savage, and they shot that on phones gaffer taped to laptops.
That's
and
amazing,
it's just like, if that's like it doesn't, nobody gives a shit what your film's been, you know, made on. But there is that kind of weird snootiness, isn't there? Like, you know, if you kind of go, you know, you get people saying, you know, we get asked all the time, you know, when the film goes out, people say, what did you shoot it on? And we got to a point where we said, should we just start saying like Reds or something, like, oh yeah, we shot it on whatever they shot Lord of the Rings on. Yeah, we did that. But no, we shot it on pretty basic kit. But the book club was supposed to be shot on just like DSLRs on like a Canon 60D, something like that. But the first scene that I shot was in the original pilot. It's the scene where there's the two guys in the kitchen, and Richard's got his bum out. He's got like an apron on. He's got his butt hanging out. He's chopping up some hands or something on the counter. And I got my camera out and we lit everything. I was like, yeah, let's go. Oh no. And I realized that I'd done a little corporate shoot that day and I'd given the SD card to the client because he wanted it. He was like, I want to take the footage home. And I was like, oh man, just whatever, just take it. So I want to go home. So we were like, you know, Richard come over from Manchester to York, and I was like, what are we going to do? We're going to literally had a GoPro in my bag, and I just went, screw it. I was just walking around this, like, you know, like that. Just filmed it all on there. So, and it worked for the web stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything from there. Some of the bit of dialogue here and there might have creeped in to the script, but the actual footage, I don't think that anything made it over.
No, I literally watched it on Dailymotion last night because I hadn't watched it before.
It was good fun. I mean, it was shot over like 3 or 4 days, and the whole thing is shot on like an old GoPro 4, like an old silver. It's over there somewhere. It's like it's battered. It was literally held together with tape, and we shot it on that. And that was only going back 5 years ago. So
I know, it's crazy. Going back a little bit further, because I did a little bit of a search yesterday. I've been meaning to watch some of the Tim Helsings and never got around to it. And I went through a few of those. That's 2010.
Shut up, man. I'm going. Yeah. I was God. I mean, I turned 40 this year, and I would have turned 30 when we started making I Am Tim. I think the very first scenes that we shot are in like episode 2 or 3 of that, and oh man, yeah, I was like, I might have even been 29, 30. I definitely bounced a lot better back then. Like I did a lot of, because I was an actor for a while before I kind of disappeared behind the scenes, and I was quite well known for my willingness to perform my own stunts in theatre and film and stuff, and I did that quite a lot. Like I have now, I've got like actual qualifications from various you know, a couple of stunt organizations, and I've got like my swashbuckling certificate and stuff like that, just because I love that sort of stuff, you know. I play roller derby outside of like my filmmaking stuff. Like my wife and I play roller derby. She on a much higher level than me, but I love that kind of stuff, and that's where kind of I Am Tim came from. That kind of crash pad. We wanted to learn how to make films. I hadn't really picked up a film camera till we started making I Am Tim, and the whole drive behind that project was let's learn how to make a feature film at some point. And it took us a while, but we got there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it took us 10 years.
That was the first thing you did? That's the first thing you actually filmed, was it?
Yeah, I think it would have been. Yeah. I think like I acted in lots of stuff. I mostly worked in theatre, to be honest. Like did a lot of Shakespeare in my 20s. Yeah, I got a lot because I'm quite tall and I can grow a pretty hefty beard in. So there's lots of Shakespeare in my day.
How did you get to horror?
I just love horror. I love it. Like ever since I was a small lad. In fact, on my little shelf here, I've got like the VHS, my little VHS pile. This is the first horror movie that my absolute classic that my mum. So there was I grew up in Scarborough, and there was a video shop called Movieland, and this guy, I don't know where they all would have gone. He must have had thousands of VHS tapes in this like really crooked old shop. It was like 5 rooms. The floors were all warped. It was like you just wouldn't find anything like it today, which is a real shame. But he had like the older stuff. So like the stuff, because it would have been like the early 90s to mid 90s when we started doing this. And my mum just basically worked her way through the 50p section, where it was 50p for a VHS tape, and you got it for 3 nights. And she just worked her way through it. Every time a horror arrived, she'd tell me. And you got to think, I was like 11 or 12 years old, I think. So I'm there like, 12 years old, just watching RoboCop on VHS with my mum, drinking a kind of Hubba Bubba. watching Maniac Cop, Video Dead, stuff like that. Just like, you know, mum going, you know, she wasn't really, you know, she just kind of, you know, she was sort of sat next to the fireplace knitting away, and I'd just be sat there like, what the hell is this? And then, of course, I think the film that got me first hooked into making horror, the idea of making horror one day, would have been Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. I remember watching that and then watching the making of it. And in fact, it took something like 5 years or something to make it. Something crazy like that.
Weekends,
so it's kind of like, what's that?
Is that weekends, wasn't it? It was weekends.
Yeah. And we're all running around throwing spaghetti hoops at everybody. And I was just like, oh, so this is doable. But still, like, the money side of it was huge. You know, like no matter how I looked at it, the idea of making horror was just, it seemed inaccessible, because, you know, the practical effects cost money, cameras cost money, feeding people cost money, all that kind of stuff. And as an actor in the 2000s, I had no money at all. So yeah, it was only really like the sort of 2010s that everything kind of shifted a bit in terms of how accessible tech was. You know, suddenly anybody could make a film. You get a thing out, get your phone out your pocket, you've got like a 4K camera on it now. It's crazy. Yeah, it was a thing I always wanted to make horror films, but it wasn't until sort of the last 10 years or so that I kind of went, oh, actually, no, I can. This is cool. So yeah. Watched, still to this day, huge. You know, I watch maybe 1 or 2 horror films a night, just late at night. Just we've got a massive TV in the house, a little cinema corner built up, which its sole purpose is to play horror movies. Really.
Way to go. Really, I think it's coming to an end. What's next for yourself? What are you working on now, if anything?
Well, we were working on High Stake Rollers, which I think you're going to show the pitch video that we did now. This is something we did. We kind of took the two sort of main loves of our life, which is roller derby and horror, and we put them together, and off we went. And we should have shot that by now. We were originally scheduled to shoot it in May this year.
And that's a short.
It's a short, yeah. It's like a 15 to 20-minute short. But you know, we've got the money for that. We raised the funding for that. We've got like the sort of, it's the same budget that we had for CHESTERSBERG, but that's going to go into a short film. So that's kind of crazy. The idea of like, we could have made it into the feature. I am sort of quietly sniffing around at the moment while things are on pause, as to whether or not I can secure any more funding to make it into a feature, because that would be amazing. To make like a 85-minute long feature film of this would be fantastic. But yeah, it's all on pause at the moment. We can't do anything. We can't cast it because we don't know who's going to be around in 6 months' time. We don't even know if we'll be able to film it in 6 months' time. I know some people have made horror films and stuff in downtime and lockdown, but Rollers is a splatterfest action horror comedy. So not only have you got like all the, you know, airborne various fluids, it's like it's going to be beyond grotesque. Like we want to make, like, people want to go like Bad Taste levels of gore in it. We want it to be absolutely, you know, gut wrenching. So you got all that stuff flying around. You got makeup artists having to get in. You got to do. We're getting like, you know, professional fangs made for the guys playing the vampires. So we can't cast them yet. So we can't get the molds done. There's so much sort of, and then you got the old thing about like it's based on roller derby, which is a full contact sport. So all the action is based on locks and grids. All the action in the film is based on like pack driven stuff. You got 3-4 people forming walls, going in for big hits. There's lots of shoulders coming into necks and stuff. Lots of people, you know, face to face, smushing cheeks together and stuff. It's like there's just no way we can do that right now. It's like every single asset of the film, you're like, yeah, we can't do that. So we're moving. At the moment, we're just about to announce on the Kickstarter that we did for Rollers. We're going to basically say, look, it's going to go. We feel bad because like the 3rd time we've updated to say it's on pause again. But it's obviously, this has all gone on a lot longer than everyone thought it would do. So yeah, we're going to crack on with our next feature, which is exciting. I'm excited about it. It's a sort of another 90-minute long. It's set in the 1950s. It's a bee movie, not a movie about bees. It's a movie about like, you know, classical flying saucers, but it's a musical, which excites me. It's a horror comedy splatter-filled musical. So I'm hyped for that, and that's something we can crack on with. So we can start. We're at the moment, we're just basically starting to write the book, put all the songs together. And we can record most of those. You know, we can cast that up. We can record songs. We can get like a little 5-track CD put together and start looking for funding for that. Just have to shuffle stuff around, sort of, yeah. Basically, stop thinking about what we can't do, right? Sulking, oh, we can't make rollers, and just crack on with what we can do, really.
We can do, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where to go. Well, Jamie, thank you very much. Thanks for the chat. That's the end of the interview, the end of Dead and SudBuried. So I hope everyone out there enjoyed it. We are going to leave them with, this is the promo reel you made.
Yeah, this is like a little, just a little example. It's like a little thing. It's maybe 2-3 minutes long for High Stake Rollers.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers.
How you doing, tasty boy?
What have we got here?
B negative. Rare.
Booyah!
Hey, dickweed!
Fuck, man. Oh, fuck, it's them. It's them. It's the...
High stake rollers.
Oh, you've heard of us? That's super cute.